I'm Ann Kalinowski, Research Analyst with Supply Chain Insights, and today I'm doing a video summary of my blog on the April Beat Fusion topic, which was supply chain leaders that you admire. And I took this topic kind of broad, and I thought about the supply chain leaders that I admire and have seen in my career so far. And I thought about what traits they all had in common and kind of grouped those into two groups. One being just general leadership traits that I think all leaders should have. And then the second one being more specific to supply chain leaders. So first, an appreciation for diversity. I think to build a strong team, you really need to have a diverse team. And I told the story in the blog about this logistics director that I was talking to once. I was bugging him about why his whole team was made up of white males. And he told me that when he was hiring people, he looked for people that he could have a beer with. And I was just so taken aback because to me, you want people that are good at things that you're bad at. You know, if you're a really analytical person, why wouldn't you want an awesome communicator on your team? So to me, a good leader seeks out diversity in their team. And then secondly, I think a good leader has a positive attitude. To me, when you're going to work, if you are working for someone who has this can-do attitude, says, okay, here we go, here's the problem, let's attack it. I think that's much more motivating than someone who's kind of yelling at you for things that went wrong, or someone who's just kind of begrudgingly saying, okay, well, we have to do this. And then the third, just general leadership trait that I admire is, of course, people who are excellent communicators. And so just generally, of course, if you're a good leader, I think you're good at being able to communicate with different types of people, being able to say things that are hard to say, have those hard conversations with people, and you're a good listener. So then for more supply chain specific traits that I've seen in leaders that I admire, first of all, being able to be level-headed in stressful situations. Supply chain can be very stressful. There's a lot of pressure to get the product to the customer when they need it, and sometimes it can be critical to the customer. And so being able to have a level head in that situation, being able to prioritize quickly and address the issue is a key trait in a supply chain leader. And then secondly, in a supply chain leader, I think being able to communicate your goals, it goes along with the communication ability, but also being able to speak to what are the steps that we're going to take to help us achieve this goal. So I think that's really important in a supply chain leader. I've had leaders before that have great goals in mind, but they didn't have the steps to get to those goals. And so it kind of leaves the team feeling frustrated and maybe a little bit helpless with, okay, we've got this goal, but how do we achieve it? Thirdly, I think a supply chain leader, they need to be technically competent, and they need to be able to dig into the details of their data that they're given. And so if we're showing bad service results and there's one category, I gave the example in the blog about, maybe replenishment levels looked really bad for the month. Well, why? I think the supply chain leader needs to not just stop there, and really supply chain employees in general, but especially the leader needs to be able to say, okay, what happened to get to this poor replenishment level? So maybe it was, okay, did manufacturing have issues? Or maybe it was, the packaging supplier wasn't able to get the packaging to the manufacturer so that they could package the product and have it available for logistics to be able to replenish the outside warehouses. So really being able to do gut checks on data and dig into the data, I think is really important for supply chain leaders. Fourth, for the supply chain specific leadership traits, being able to understand the supply chain impact on the business. So this is huge, and just generally being able to speak the language of the business and the financials is so essential for a supply chain leader. I remember this one leader that I respect a lot. Whenever he would present on his project, he would talk about his timeline, and he would talk about how it affected the overall business plan for this project, and I thought that was really cool. Wasn't something we were doing a lot of in supply chain. And then the last supply chain specific quality that I thought of was just being able to explain technical information at the appropriate levels. So as a supply chain leader, you have to be able to dig down, as I said before, into the details and understand the technical information and relay technical information to, say, your analysts, for instance, and communicate with your analysts in a competent way. But also you have to be able to take this information and speak to the business leaders and talk about, from a high level, how is this affecting their financials and how is this affecting their customer service. And so when I thought about all these traits that in my mind make a great supply chain leader, I just realized how difficult it really is. There is a lot involved in the supply chain, a lot that you have to know. And then you also have to have those soft skills. So not an easy feat, but I would love to hear your thoughts on what you guys think, if there's any qualities that I missed or anything you would add. So thanks.